It's December 18th, 11:36 a.m. my time. Let's take a look at BTC. We'll also take a look at some BSV potential tradable spots over the next 24 hours or so. Currently looking at BTC first. Let's go ahead and start with BTC Hawaii, and we'll just see what potentially may play out today. So we've had what we'll call, I'll go back to FTX and Coinbase and Binance, and what you'll notice obviously is Hawaii, their daily bar starts at a different time than the other exchanges, but we've basically had what we call an inside day. Today's value, the value area, was built within the previous day's value, and so basically not a lot has happened, right? So this green shaded area would be the value area, and obviously it was built within the same green shaded area from the previous day. That applies for Coinbase, FTX, Binance, and Hawaii looks a little bit different because the days do start at different times. But we have opened up a new day here. I do think for today's potential tradable spots, if you are going to want to try and short this, you want to short the upper range, obviously. So we would look for something like this to play out, right? A bounce up into the upper range of the previous day. We also have the VPOC from the other day. So another bounce up, getting everybody thinking that it's going to continue higher and push up. You'd short that bounce and look for it to return to the bottom end of the range, somewhere down in here. So first spot I'm looking at as a potential short, obviously you would put your stop in place somewhere up in here, because the trade would be for it to basically fail right there. So you don't need to give it a big, you don't have to give it a ton of room. So that spot on Hawaii is 47,148 basically. The other exchanges, that would pretty much be 47,158 on Binance, 47,158 on Coinbase, and about 47,158 on FTX. Okay, so basically 47,150 as a potential. If you are going to short this, there's no reason to short it here. We want to try to short the upper part of the range at least. And so for the past 2 days, that has been the upper end of the range for all the exchanges across the board. Okay. On the downside, if we want to, if this is going to bleed down, I do think your first tradable spot could be 46,000. I've talked about 46,000 and below, excuse me, for some time, and this could be another visit to 46,000 before we get some type of tradable bounce. Now, as far as long-term follow-through off of those levels, I mean, that's, who knows, but as far as getting a reaction that can be traded from those spots, the chances are pretty decent that you're going to get some type of reaction there. So we'll say low 46,000s as your first potential spot. I do have further spots on the downside. I do think at some point we will come down and visit this lower section from this extreme, right? So from the major sell-off that we had on the 4th, I do think the time will come where we're going to at least come and revisit the low end of that section. So if we were to sell off over the next 2 days, I'd probably look to maybe buy the middle of that section, right up in there, and maybe that would be a nice longer term grab for us. So I do think 43,300-ish at some point could come into play. But as far as for today goes, we kind of just have to assume that sideways is going to continue. And so we will play the ranges accordingly until it decides not to go sideways. So that is that is BTC. Let's quickly click over to BSV. Obviously things are pretty similar. Recently BSV BTC has shown a little strength, which is good. We came down, this is BSV BTC Habai. We came down and we revisited the low end of that big run up from the court case. We came down and we visited that, and we have since bounced up a little bit, and so far BSV BTC is showing a little bit of strength, so obviously we like to see that. Let's look at the USD chart. I guess we'll look at FTX first. I don't know that a lot has changed for BSV. It does follow BTC, unfortunately, until it doesn't, but you pretty much got to default to the fact that it will. Two spots, well, one spot on a dip. So if you're not long and you want to get long BSV, and we do get BTC to sell off to maybe this low 46 or lower, well, I don't know. If BTC goes down and visits this 43,300, I do like BSV basically, visiting the low end of the court case breakout, which would be basically 115. Once again, we take out the lows, maybe 114, 115, right in here as your potential spot. If it does end up following BTC down, on the upside, I do think if it does start going, you'll probably get a reaction off of 155, which is the double VPOC over here. But again, ultimately we're going to visit the upper end of this range, where it would probably be wise to take a little bit off and then rebuy the dip. So, maybe we bounce up to 155, you get a tradable reaction, and then we can shoot up into here, and then right back down, and then maybe finally we can start holding these holding above 155 again before going higher. But that is BSV FTX. Habai is very similar. If it does want to sell down, again, we'll look at 115s, and then if it does really want to start crashing down, I'm going to be looking at a revisit. Just like BTC, we're going to look for a revisit to the low end of the crash. So we're talking probably 95. Okay. Well, that is BSV and BTC, potential tradable spots. Maybe today, maybe over the next few days, but we'll see how this plays out. And that is it.